Well, what do you know? It is another Tuesday night. Thanks everybody for joining tonight. And obviously we've got some stuff that's kind of a little heavy, some things that are gonna be a little lighter, obviously. But um, as most of you guys know, we'll kind of dive into the issues kind of tonight a little bit. But we'll try to keep it as light as we possibly can. I know the past probably probably two, three, four live streams have kind of been a little deep, so you always want to try to do things to make at least some things not so, doom and gloom. But there are times like tonight where, you feel like you want to do your part. And as much as, I call Durrell a friend, what he and his family and his daughter are going through is not something that we can really put into words or even truly relate to if you've not kind of dealt with that. So we'll kind of get into some of that stuff in a little bit. But on a lighter side, what I really wanted to kind of do was talk about some non-Kentucky either whiskeys and or brands, and some that are maybe my favorites, or some that I just kind of find myself sipping on lately. But it's one of those things where so much of us, and there's so much great Kentucky whiskey, period. So getting outside of that box and kind of trying to find other things, we'll address the elephant in the room like immediately right out of the gate, because I know what a lot of people are going to want to start with as far as brand and or non-Kentucky whiskey. But again, we have to kind of find ourselves getting outside of that kind of Kentucky box, so to speak. So before I kind of dive into things, let me know in the comments what you guys are sipping on tonight. Maybe something non-Kentucky. Doesn't have to be, but I want to say hi to a few people that were in here right away. Top Dog was in here immediately. Johnny, how you doing, buddy? Mr. Doug H, good to see you. Sugar Kitty, good to always see you. Benny, always good to see you, brother. Appreciate you joining tonight. Mr. Peter B, good to see you, brother. Josel Boston, how are you doing, buddy? Great to see you. Was always good to see you. Maybe it was about a month ago now. So if you're in the Boston area and need a good realtor, check out my man. He'll help you out. So Forlorn Hope, good to see you. There's my buddy. How's it going, bud? I appreciate that. Good to see Marty in here as always. Kind of directed something to me, Scott, depending on what you have left there. As many as non-Kentucky whiskeys that I sent you. Yeah, there's so much stuff that you can buy that's not from Kentucky. We'll talk about a few of the brands, some of my favorite ones tonight a little bit, but I'm always mostly concerned or interested to kind of hear and see what it is you guys enjoy and for what reason. So so the Clyde Mays 13. So yeah, Alabama style whiskey. Again, I believe that's all sourced probably from MGP, I believe, but you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. So anyway, so let's touch on kind of the deeper thing tonight right away. So needless to say, it's a absolutely traumatic thing for what it is that Darrell and his family are having to go through with their daughter, only 5 years old, battling a type of leukemia, not something that you wish upon anybody, let alone a 5-year-old girl or 5-year-old anybody. So tomorrow night, I know Darrell, Jeffrey, and Kelsey, hello again, whiskey friends, will be doing their live stream, and Jason will follow up there. So I believe it's 8 Eastern and 9 Eastern. Those guys will be doing stuff all night long. But I wanted to at least do my part, put up the GoFundMe link, which you'll find if you're on your phone or really anywhere, I think you'll see a link at the top, which is a link to their GoFundMe. And so whatever you guys can give, if it's anything, I wanted to at least do my small part to whatever I could do. And if they're able to raise a little bit more money tonight on top of what they have going on tomorrow, it is for an incredibly great cause, needless to say. So whatever you guys can do, $1, $100, $1,000, whatever it may be, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I'm sure Durrell and his family will appreciate everything and anything that can be done. So the whiskey community always seems to rally around these kinds of things, and whatever can be done, great. So super chats, whatever it may be. And if there are any super chat stuff that come in tonight, I'll put together some kind of package or something along those lines if you somehow want to donate that way. But again, whatever it is you can do, anything that you can do, they will greatly appreciate that. So all right, so let's talk a little bit of Kentucky whiskey, and I'm always interested to kind of get the perspective of what people are enjoying outside of either the state of Kentucky and or whiskey that's coming directly from Kentucky itself. So I'd say we'll touch upon the elephant in the room right away. We know MGP is going to dominate this. I was hoping we could get that one out of the way right away, and then kind of maybe get into some other brands, whether they're local to you. But MGP obviously is probably the next default to anything else. Then that's maybe, again, like I said, local to your area. So right now I'm pulled out a little bit of batch 5, the Remus 5, and again, this for me, I mean, MGP, as you guys are aware, I mean, they are like the IKEA of whiskey outside of the state of Kentucky, and what it is that they do and the whiskey that they produce and the quality whiskey that they produce, I guess I'll say outside of Kentucky, and they're probably second to none. I mean, they do a fantastic job. A lot of us enjoy fantastic whiskey on a daily, nightly basis, whatever it may be. And again, what it is that they're doing, it is I'll say some of the best whiskey in the world, if we're going to call it what it is. And it's, again, one of those brands, MGP, Ross and Squibb, whatever you want to call it, but they're doing an absolutely incredible job, and relatively, I don't want to say limited, but in terms of what a lot of us tend to enjoy, a couple of different mash bills, maybe their high and higher rye bourbon, in addition to their 95.5 rye whiskey. Those three right there dominate so much of what they do that it's hard to really get beyond that. Now, again, as much as it's the same, so much of it is different, again, depending on age. And, we're not going to necessarily factor in price and all of that tonight, but again, we have to account for that when we're buying whiskey. So what it is you're buying, how much it is, why, what the occasion may be, there's lots of things that kind of factor into that. So I figured I'd start with a little MGP. Cheers to you guys. Give you a little toast. Thanks for stopping by in a relatively early kind of Tuesday night. So it's it's one of those things where we'll kind of kick things off. Again, like I mentioned, you got the link, the GoFundMe there. If anybody wants to contribute directly to that, you are. I would say thank you guys so much for any of that. But thank you guys for joining tonight on another Tuesday night. Greatly appreciate it. Cheers, guys. I'm going to toast and have a little Remus 5. Man, as far as I'm concerned, it may be the best batch that they've done. I think 6 was slightly disappointing, I believe. 7 has come out, but I have not tried it yet, so I can't comment on what batch 7 is like. But I can say for what they did with Remus 5 was absolutely incredible. And again, at 100 proof, I don't mind these whiskeys at 100 proof when you've got some age to them. That richness and complexity still remains even at that that proof point. So for what this was, and again, all those older whiskeys that were in there made this absolutely incredible. So I've got a couple more of those. What I will say real quick, and this is probably, as we're not talking about Kentucky whiskeys, I will mention one thing. If you haven't had a chance to try the newest Elijah Craig barrel proof batch C923, it is 100% worth buying. And if you can get a backup or even a backup to your backup, I would highly encourage you to do it. I don't think it's a whiskey that's going to last in the market very long. It is an absolutely incredible bourbon. And in my opinion, maybe outside of some of the pirate bottles with some of that older whiskey that was in those, in my opinion, I think it's the best batch that they've released since then. And that's accounting for an awful lot of bottles, and even better than, in my opinion, when the Elijah Craig barrel proof won a whiskey of the year in 2017. So it is an absolutely incredible bourbon, and one that you guys will absolutely love. I can almost guarantee. If somehow you don't, I'll buy it off you, I think. But it's tremendous. So that's my one little piece of Kentucky bourbon talk tonight. We'll kind of skip over some of that. Let me ask you guys this. Besides MGP, what have been some of your, I guess, again, non-Kentucky bourbons, ryes that you've been enjoying, or if it's a local brand to you? I'm always interested to hear that side of things, because, we're now in a day and age where there are so many other great brands, again, outside of the state of Kentucky, that are making incredible or fantastic whiskey, that I love to hear what it is that you're oftentimes, buying, sipping on, whatever it may be. So what I'm going to do is, for me, and in my kind of like local market, we have this little company by the name of Driftless Glen, and out of Baraboo, Wisconsin. And in my opinion, I'll finish this one off for you guys tonight. But in my opinion, maybe outside of the state of Kentucky, it has become probably one of my favorite overall whiskeys. They produce some that are sub 100, some barrel proof stuff. And the great thing that Driftless is always able to do is maintain the kind of structure of the whiskey, if that makes sense, allowing for that richness to still kind of come through. They're non-chill filtering all of their stuff, whether they're adding water or not. So they're at least leaving some of those fatty acids and stuff behind. But what it is to me that Driftless has really kind of become the last couple of years, and I think a lot more people, including a lot of you guys that are in here tonight, have started to kind of catch on to. Their barrel proof stuff is absolutely fantastic. A lot of their whiskeys now, if you're starting to get those, are creeping into that 7, close to 8 year range. So already we're into great ages on a bourbon. So for me, I find myself wanting to go to, this bad boy, quite a bit. This is one of their kind of local-ish single barrels. And absolutely fantastic. So it's one of those things where they're just doing some absolutely crazy things, stuff that I really truly enjoy. So hey, let me go back here. I know there are a couple of things that people were kind of tagging me in some stuff. I wish the stuff would show up on my end a little bit more now in red like it used to, but it doesn't anymore. So all right, Timmy, what do you got? So Journeyman out of Michigan is winning a lot of awards, best in class 2 years in a row from the Ascot Awards, but still under the radar. Pick soon. So I can say I don't know if there's a pick or anything coming soon. I have heard an awful lot about Journeyman and some of the awards that they've had. I I have had some of their stuff, but it was probably going back even prior to that. So I'm sure some things obviously have significantly changed since I kind of got into it, but have heard an awful lot of really great things about Journeyman, and probably rightfully so. Not to say that we wouldn't do a pick, and maybe it's something that would be worth looking into a little bit more. We're always looking for great whiskey as well for everyone part of the club. So, Mr. Benson, what do you got? Hey man, I can't agree with you more. Absolutely love again what it is that Sagamore is doing. Love how they blend kind of a high and low rye together to create that absolutely fantastic balance and complexity that they do between the spice and the sweetness. I love those two mash bills. So what they kind of do, blending two mash bills and then aging it into a single barrel, is still something that's a little bit different, and I'll say unique in terms of what it is they're blending. But absolutely love what it is that Sagamore is doing. So, Johnny, couldn't agree with you more. Absolutely love Driftless. Probably, if we're being honest, I'm gonna say it's probably my favorite Wisconsin distillery, and for all the right reasons. Now there are a couple other ones that are here that I absolutely love as well, but maybe not quite as much as what it is that Driftless is doing. So yeah, Johnny, that's another one too. The Jack Daniels and some of the Corbin Cash stuff, which I actually have over here. We'll maybe chat a little bit about that later, but love that one too. Yep, Benny, agree there. What do we got here? Yeah, can't go wrong, Daniel. Can't go wrong with really anything that is being done by Starlight as well. So again, they have, I'll say, a slight different kind of profile that I think is kind of unique to them a little bit. But aside from that, absolutely love what it is that Starlight is doing. Their transparency, just really everything that they do, and different finishes, just all of those things. I think Starlight is doing an absolutely fantastic job. So, yeah, it's easy for me to call them out when they're about a little over an hour from me, so it's not too tough. But TK, so Middle West Spirits, Maripingri, a couple of my favorites. So hopefully Middle West will be something that we'll be able to do a pick of. That'd be great. I actually just kind of reached out to them the other day to kind of start that conversation a little bit more. I know Jason had kind of dealt with them or talked to them a little bit, but just wanted to get kind of back on the radar with them as well. So still awesome. Cast strength is good as well. I would agree. And for whatever reason, Texas whiskeys are something that I don't always find myself sipping on. I don't know why necessarily. I think because of its unique kind of profile that it has. But other than that, I can't give you a good reason for why I don't sip on it. But oh, awesome. So good to hear. I'm glad some more things are coming in. So yeah, thanks guys. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, whatever can be done to help them out is absolutely incredible. Yeah, Ryan. So ASW, the Georgia Heartwood. I actually have got one on my table right now. Incredible stuff as well. Love what ASW is doing. I think the man I'm popping up here right now, Mr. Wiley. For me, top 4 would be ASW, Chattanooga, 13th Colony, Jack Daniels, and all of those are ones that you cannot go wrong with at all. All of them offer something a little bit different. Clearly, William is somebody who enjoys a big, bold profile on a whiskey, because when you're throwing those 4 names into the hat, you're dealing with some hefty bourbon profiles, that's for sure. So, you know what, Blake? New Holland is not something I've had a lot of. Again, earlier on, I think when they were starting to kind of pump out some things, I was actually there, probably a handful of years ago, I believe, at this point. And what I was tasting then wasn't really, I'll say, ready to go. But again, in fairness, I can't say anything about what they've got now because I really haven't tried that. So. Yeah, I know some of the Texas whiskeys, are some great ones. I know Iron Root, Still Austin are fantastic, and for whatever reason, I just don't find myself going to it very often. I think a lot of it is you get so used to drinking the same things over and over again that all of this whiskey that we have, we probably drink 5 or 10 different ones, on occasion, and it's just the way it goes. But definitely Spirits of French Lick, another one to kind of take into consideration, doing some different things. So, Chris, how you doing, brother? Scott, you're amazing for doing cheers. Oh yeah, thanks, man. Hey, if I can do anything a little bit, and if you guys haven't checked out Chris and what he's doing, Bourbon of the Week, some pretty awesome things. So they're actually doing, with the Bourbon Judge and the Bourbon Van, a Driftless Glen pick later tonight. I don't know whose channel they're doing it on, but the 4 of them are going to be doing a Driftless pick. So that'll be kind of interesting to tune into. So Sugar Kitty, Corbin Cash, Driftless Rye, and Still Austin are on your radar, and rightfully so. What else we got here? Mr. Nate Cox, good to see you, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you for the samples the other day. I greatly appreciate that. What do you got here? Scott will bring a banger New Holland bottles to Bourbon on the Banks. Oh, awesome. I appreciate that. So, yeah. So I guess let's touch on that. So not this coming weekend, the first weekend in October, we'll be down in Kentucky in why was I going to say Lawrenceburg? Not Lawrenceburg. I'm drawing a blank right now, but is it Lawrenceburg? Maybe. But yeah, we'll be down there for Bourbon on the Banks. So if there's anybody who's going and I haven't met, I look forward to meeting you guys and kind of just shooting the shit a little bit, having a good time and some good pour. Should be a really, really fun event, and fairly smaller, a little more intimate. I think 2,000 tickets are what they're selling. I don't know if they're sold out or not yet, but JT Meleck, that is going to be one that we'll probably chat about here in a couple minutes. Let's talk about that one right now. So speaking of JT Meleck, this was something that was newly introduced to me probably over the course of maybe the last 6 months, year tops. And basically what they're doing, their story is them dealing with basically rice, tons of rice, and not being able to either sell it or get the monetary value for whatever it was, or make something slightly different. So they started distilling the rice, and that ended up being their new whiskey, so to speak. So that was kind of cool, and I think that profile that it has, that kind of sweet custardy, still with a great finish and great spice and all that. We've not released ours yet, so this is coming probably. We'll do a Patreon live following this as well, kind of going over some of the stuff coming. But yeah, the JT Meleck 100% rice whiskey, distilled obviously using only rice, and a pretty cool product. Wasn't exactly sure what or how that was going to be, but really hands down, I'll say one of my surprises of 2023. That's for sure. So Peter, can't argue with there. Love what it is that Nick and his brother are doing. Absolutely fantastic whiskeys. Actually, I was just chatting with Nick kind of today via text, trying to set something up for some of the things he's got coming. Yeah, not Lawrenceburg, Frankfurt. Thanks, William. Appreciate that. But yeah, that'll be a fun weekend. So looking forward to hanging out with a lot of you guys. Let's see. This is one of the cool things. So I always appreciate when people are either local to the area and kind of banging the drum for their local, distilleries. And I think it's important. I mean, I as much as we like to drink all of the big brands and everything, it is just as important, if not more important, to enjoy what it is that's being done locally to your area. And there's just so many great whiskeys out there that the vast majority of us have never tried, may never try, but the way things have kind of been communicated over the last couple of years and our availability to be able to talk these brands up is what helps get things like JT Meleck. I mean, these guys are in the middle of the swamp, way down in Louisiana, Driftless Glen, Baraboo, Wisconsin, all of these brands, here's another one, Kings County, state of New York, all of these different brands are local to a lot of us. And if we're not the ambassadors for these local whiskeys and trying to spread the word, then we're almost doomed. I mean, we don't need or want to necessarily have to just drink Kentucky bourbon all the time, as great as it is. There's so many other great ones out there. We'll kind of dive into a few of those in a second. And a few of you have already mentioned some of the brands that I've got them on the table that I've been enjoying probably over the maybe last either month, week, whatever it may be. And I'm trying, that is one thing I'm going to try to do more of, and be a little bit more aware of continuously trying just different brands, staying on top of those, continuing to sip on a few of those rather than go back to always tried and true. I mean, it's easy to go to like an ECBP and all of that, but trying these different brands has been a big part of what we've done as the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club in bringing great whiskeys to people around the country. As we get recommendations from you, like I was just talking before about each person kind of representing their brand and their state. This is how it all happens, is that we get information from you guys about how great the whiskey is. We reach out, we try it. Next thing you know, we do a pick of it. Now it's around the country. So it can go as very small and niche to a particular, area, and then massively spread around and allowing people to kind of just enjoy things. So I'm a little bit behind, so bear with me here. Let's see. What's my favorite Sagamore outside of your pick? Well, I really love the 8-year that they released. That was an incredible rye whiskey. They did do some different finishes. They had the port, which was a really nice one. That was probably one of the very first Sagamores I ever tried, was their port finish, and was one of the whiskeys that actually kind of got my wife hooked on some of those things. So those two off the top of my head are incredible. Just their regular cast strength Sagamore, is a fantastic whiskey. So I really enjoy what it is that Sagamore does and just that profile overall. So Stymie, I couldn't agree with you more. So not as a Hoosier, but for what it is that Hard Truth is doing. We've actually got our pick coming this Friday to the club. So we're really excited to finally be releasing our Hard Truth. And I was sitting out back over the weekend and decided to pour it and have a cigar with it. And I can confirm it's a great pairing. So really nice whiskey, and something that is just under 4 years old. Now, again, ours is a little bit different, where it was a spiral cut barrel. they left all the shavings right in there. So it became this real interaction with the barrel, plus the shavings that were left really did some really awesome things to that whiskey. And yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that later on. So what do we got here? Yeah, so the Middle West Spirits, like I mentioned before, William is somebody I just reached out to again. And yeah, I know we had talked about this the other night on the when we did the driftless tasting and stuff. I know you were kind of banging the drum for the Millium and Green. Not something I've had before, but always something kind of fun to hear people talk about these brands that they're really, really enjoying. So, all right, I'm gonna have a little bit of the driftless. And again, this was one that we did the other night when I did a virtual tasting for some of our patrons. This was just a 96 proof single barrel. That was, again, to me, still a great everyday sipping kind of bourbon. So. Soft, creamy, great spice, nice cherry notes. I mean, what it is that Driftless is doing, I mean, I'm a huge fan of all of that. And there's something about that profile that to me, it's gone beyond that craftiness. I don't really get that vibe anymore. I mean, we got bourbons and ryes that are approaching 8 years. Now they're letting things age, almost up to 10 years. So what it is, I think that Driftless is doing is incredible. And it's going to be one of those distilleries that I kind of bang the drum over to make even more people aware of what they're doing. So. All right, what do we got here? So Detling is an interesting one, 6 grain. I've heard a little bit about this, but don't know a ton of it. And I had one other time a while back. I shouldn't say a while back, maybe a couple years ago. I had someone give me a sample of, I forget what the distillery was, but it was also a 6 grain. And I'll tell you what, it was probably one of the more unique, and I'm kind of using unique in probably a more polite way. It was really kind of funky and different, and I wasn't digging it. And again, not to say that this Detling wouldn't be, again, something that's better than what I had, but there was something that was just not like right about it. And I don't know if it had anything to do with just the distillation or the fact that it was 6 different grains that were involved. So I don't know. I just couldn't tell. And it was something that was too early on that was a little bit off-putting, that didn't make me want to sip on it anymore. So, take that for what it is. That doesn't mean anything could be absolutely fantastic now, but who knows? Hard Truth isn't available in Georgia, but I was able to get one on the way back to trips to Chattanooga, and it's amazing for such a young rye. You kind of took the words right out of my mouth. For what it was, before we did our pick, the beginning of summer down there, I hadn't had any of it before. So I was going in, obviously open-minded, excited, and it met and exceeded all of my expectations. Hopefully, in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'm actually hoping to get or have Brian Smith on, their head distiller, let him kind of share a little bit more information about the distillery, their process, their whiskeys, and all of that. But getting back to the whiskey, I would agree, for that age on a whiskey, it probably shouldn't taste like that. So again, the combination of their distillation process, their barrels, which is extremely important. So whatever the process is there, what that wood is, whether it's aged outside, whatever it may be, there's so many factors that will play into that profile of a whiskey based on the wood. Like, I don't think we all give enough credit to, outside of the charring part of it, what that wood really does to impact the whiskey. I mean, it is a huge deal, needless to say, and something that probably just doesn't get focused on enough. We just talk about the char levels and we kind of leave it at that, whether it's a toast or heavy char, whatever it may be. But all of the other factors that play into that wood are huge things as well that factor into all of that. So so yeah, you've got that. There's a sweet mash process. So again, more labor intensive, pulling everything out, cleaning stuff, brand new process all over again versus the sour mash where they're using a little bit of the spent grain, in with the new mash. So you constantly have that cycle going on. So, but yeah, really cool thing as to what it is that Hard Truth is doing. So, all right. So Scott, what's your impression of the Driftless Glen port finish versus other port finish choices? I got a little verklempt there. My thought. So port is one of those kind of love-hate relationships I have with whiskey. Is that I think the Driftless Glen that they did, the port one I had was probably from that was probably 2021, I believe it was. I could be wrong, but that was the one that I had most recently from them. I thought it was fantastic, but the one thing I'll say with port is I would always want to try a port finish before I buy one, because oftentimes they can be so overdone that it just completely washes away the whiskey part of it. And my kind of rule of thumb is if the finish completely dominates the whiskey, that's not something that I enjoy. So for a port, I think I would really want to taste that prior to buying it. But as far as the one I had from Driftless Glen was really kind of spot on, more my kind of profile. But I can't comment on any of the new ones. I haven't had the privilege of trying any of the new port finished Driftless Glen stuff, if that's what they have. So Peter, so here's another one. Barrel bourbon, mostly not from Kentucky. That's we're trying to skirt into the gray area here. I would agree. So I mean, what it is they do with Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana, they're over the course of probably the past 5 batches, I think they've done an incredible job, including their rye whiskey as well. Really fantastic stuff. It just seems like the attention to detail is really starting to kind of either pay off, come out, whatever you want to call it. So, all right, let's do this. Let me have a little bit more of this. Love me some Driftless Glen. All right, so speaking of this, so this was what, again, before we were talking about this. So unique kind of mash bill, a little bit different. 96 rye, 4% malted barley. So not our standard or typical 95.5 that we're used to, but again, sweet mash. And if you guys can find the Hard Truth, give them a try. Or if you're in or around the Indiana area, they're not far from Starlight. So I mean, if you're visiting Starlight, you easily can make it to Hard Truth. So I would highly encourage you guys to give them a try. This just happens to be our single barrel pick that we did for the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, which again, we'll be talking a little bit about that later tonight on a Patreon only live stream. But again, fantastic process. Love everything that they're doing. And again, this was something the past 6 months, year was brand new to me. Hadn't tried any of it. And I'm now a huge fan of what it is that Brian Smith and his team is doing. So we touched on this one before. This is a JT Meleck, again, 100% rice whiskey. This again was our barrel pick, yet to be released, coming very soon as well. What do we got proof wise? 119 proof, 4+ years. Really has a nice profile. You would think with it being rice, you're going to still get that kind of creaminess. And you do get all of that, but it's got such a sneaky, spicy finish to it that I really enjoyed that part of it. And the guys picked a great barrel. This was one that Jason and I were not part of. We let a few of our patrons go down and pick this on our behalf. But if you're haven't tried anything from JT Meleck and you're kind of on the fence or looking for a different brand, don't look past what it is that they're doing. I think they're doing a really, really awesome thing. I look forward to kind of diving into that one a little bit more. Yeah, I've only had the thing open, had like 1 or 2 pours out of it. I think it was actually only 1 so far, but looking forward to kind of getting into that now that the bottle has opened up a little bit on that one. So let's see, to get back to this. So Black Button is definitely one that is, let me go back here. Jeffrey, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that it's 100% rice whiskey. And someone, if you guys know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it is 100% rice if I'm not mistaken. So, and I think maybe Copper Wolf is alluding to that. So that's rice and more rice. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So yeah, I would say that's a fair mash bill. I think it's 100% rice, more rice, and then even more rice on top of that. So let's see. So some of the Penelope stuff. Yep, some of the Penelope stuff, Michael, they've done some really kind of cool things. I know all the transaction with MGP. I don't know how much that's changed or if it will or not, but it's always something to kind of factor into. Durrell, yeah. Hey, if again, now that Durrell is in here, again, just to kind of draw a little more attention, I got the link to the GoFundMe in the chat. It's also in the description of the video. If you can give anything to help Darrell, his daughter, that are battling leukemia, it will all be greatly appreciated. Anything and everything under these circumstances is always appreciated. And before I go any further, tomorrow night, Darrell, Jeffrey, Kelsey, all go on. I believe it's 8 Eastern for about an hour. They're doing a big charity event, obviously, to raise even more funds. Right after that, the following hour, Jason will be on for the Mash and Drum, and he'll kind of take over, do another kind of bottle giveaway, fundraiser, everything. So between tonight and tomorrow's event, I know they're selling T-shirts, really anything. If anyone has any links, whether it's Jeffrey, Durrell, if you guys want to share anything in here or text me, I'm happy to share it if you guys can't. But I put everything in the description of the video. So if anyone's looking for stuff for tomorrow and or links to the GoFundMe, it should all be in there. So, you know, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys. And I'm sure Durrell and his wife and his family are appreciative of everything that is going on. And I mean, it's their time to just simply, you know, focus on getting her, you know, better and letting us do whatever our part can be. So again, whatever you guys can do to help out is greatly appreciated. So let's see what else we got here. All right, so here's another one for us as well. So this was the Corbin Cash. Again, sorry for just showing all the barrel pick stuff, but some of these have just quickly become favorites of mine. So this is distilled with something that's called a Merced rye. So more of a gnarly kind of rye, something that is, according to their head distiller, a very difficult rye to work with. And they've done an incredible job with this. They're out of the state of California. So you've got something that's going to be, again, a little bit more of a unique profile. But again, this is where within the whiskey community, other people referencing what it is that they're enjoying will pique the interest of a lot of us. And had it not been for a couple of other people, Katie and Ethan, Darren, these guys and lady let us know how much they were appreciating this. And we eventually got in touch with them. We're able to try some great whiskeys and selected a single barrel of their 7-year single barrel Merced Rye. Absolutely fantastic. And let me give you guys, let me open this up. And it's like a slightly kind of like a Frey Ranch type of cork. It's awfully heavy, but I'll give you guys, if you're not familiar, leave a comment. Let me know here if you're used to, or if you are familiar with what it is that Corbin Cash does. And if not, I want to try to give you a little bit of the profile on this one right now. But absolutely fantastic whiskey. But you bet, Jeffrey, man, anything to do to help out friends. That is for sure. So, and yeah, thank you to everyone for doing your part, no matter how small, how large. So let's get rid of the Driftless Glen. As much as I love that, we'll swap that out with our friends over at Corbin Cash. So let's give this one a little try. So you do get a little bit more of this kind of smokier rye, a little more herbal note, but it's got this really interesting kind of, I don't want to say like a black licorice or anything, but there's this sweetness that it has that is more of like a sweetness combined with almost I'll say like a black tea. And it gives you a little bit more of this earthy, robust kind of character. You'll also pick up, I think, with the smoke, with kind of some of the chocolate, maybe some of those brown sugars. I wouldn't quite say like a marshmallow or anything like that, but you do get a little bit of a s'mores effect to it because of the sweetness and a little bit of that kind of char that's coming through, a little bit of that kind of gnarly rye or more of an earthy rye. But it's absolutely fantastic. So again, guys, cheers. Thank you for hanging out tonight. Greatly appreciate it. And thank you for all the support. And again, make sure you check out or tune in tomorrow night, 8 and 9 Eastern for Jeffrey's live stream, and then Jason's to follow up after that. So cheers, guys. You do get that just unique rye profile like immediately. But again, this is the fun part of trying so many different whiskeys, different profiles, all of that. It makes appreciating what each of these distillers are doing with their grains, their distillation process, whatever it may be, and gives these unique kind of profiles. And I'm really happy that we were able to get a pick of this done and for the group. We didn't have a lot of bottles. I think it was either just over 100, I believe. But again, absolutely fantastic. I wish I remembered what the mash bill was. If anyone knows or has an idea of what the mash bill or typical mash bill of that Merced Rye that Corbin Cash uses, drop it in the description. I would love to know what that was. But it's again, it's funky, unique, different. I don't think there's really much out there that really compares to it, which I think is oftentimes a good thing. We don't always need or want the same thing, over and over again. And this offers that up. So whether it's you guys that are part of the club got this, or if you've had other ones before, or just some of their standard offerings, it's kind of a really unique, kind of cool, new-ish distillery for me. So absolutely love what it is they're doing. Can't wait to do another one with them at some point, probably next year, of course. But we'll look at doing something like that. So please help. Naevia, I can't tell you enough of what Durrell does. Yeah, Timmy, we all know. I mean, what it is that um, Durrell has done, with and for the community. Great guy. I mean, you can't help but enjoy being around him. So it's one of those things where to help out other good people is something that is just feels good to do. And again, what it is that he's done with and for the community, um, you can't say enough about it. So, man, Peter, it's one of those things with some of the Redwood Empire stuff. I just oftentimes can't get into it for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't know why, but it's just not something that I seem to kind of dig all that much. Again, I don't know why, but it's just the way it is. So, what else we got here? Um, Sorry about that. Wanted to check one thing out here. There we go. Um, oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, 100%, Merced rye. Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking of the mash bill or whatever, but yeah, and I knew when we talking that he had indicated that the rye is kind of a gnarly one, really kind of difficult to work with, and I thought was like very drought resistant, something along those lines that made it again a little bit more difficult to work with through the distillation process. But just the uniqueness, I mean, that kind of campfire s'mores, nice chocolate notes again with that. Again, that maybe kind of black tea, a little more of an herbal um, aspect to it, just makes it an enjoyable, slightly different kind of profile. But again, it's one of those things where, you know, there are times that you want that. You want to try something different. And what I have a good time doing often is letting other people who come over try these different whiskeys, things that they've never had, maybe never will have, and just kind of watching the reaction. So it is one of those things where you kind of enjoy all of these different whiskeys, whether you enjoy them all the time, but watching others enjoy it as well. So, um, yeah. So you're probably the 65th person now that has mentioned Sagamore, but yeah, I mean Sagamore is doing some absolutely fantastic things. So, but all right, before we kind of end the evening, again, I just wanted to make everyone aware whether you're watching this live tonight, which I appreciate you guys tuning in, or if you're watching the replay, the links and stuff will still be in there. If you can do anything, the GoFundMe link is in the description and pinned in the comments. Darrell and his family would appreciate anything and everything. So it's a I mean, I hate to like say a cause. It's not a cause. I mean, it's a person's life that we're talking about, and having to battle leukemia not only as an adult. I can't imagine what that is, but as a 5-year-old, um, I I can't even imagine, Darrell, what your wife, your family are going through, and my heart goes out to all of you for having to endure that kind of pain, because I mean, I'm sure you've gone through a million different emotions, and um, now the anger sets in of wanting to just kick the shit out of this cancer, and I get that. I mean, that would probably be my mentality of going through all of this and now getting down to brass tacks and trying to kick its ass. And I sure hope that you guys are able to do that. And again, my heart goes out, thoughts and prayers for all of you guys, your entire family. for this. That's why I say if you guys can give something, anything that will help offset some of these expenses that the family is having to deal with, because that stuff is only dealing with it a little bit from the cancer side of things. I know that it's not a an inexpensive thing, so it can be pretty overwhelming for a lot of families. So whatever you can do is greatly appreciated. So Timmy, couldn't agree with you more. And it is the mission of cancer sucks, or fuck cancer, whatever you want to call it. It is an evil thing, and it is non-discriminatory. That is for sure. And this is evident of that. So again, I wanted to do, my small part. If I could do anything or draw a little more awareness to what's going on, not only tonight but tomorrow on both YouTube channels, the more we can all do to help out, the better off everyone will be. So anyway, that's my kind of that's my part, and I wanted to kind of do something. Not that it was well, I'll leave it at that. It's just, I don't want to get too deep into everything going on, but it's an awful lot. But I hope to God that she's able to fight through that and pull it off. I'll tell you that. So I am in her corner. That is for sure. So. All right, before we wrap it up for the night, any other suggestions as to other whiskeys, brands, other things that you're maybe wanting to sip on? Here's one other I'll kind of finish up with. Ben Holiday out of the state of Missouri. And again, this is just their simple bottle and bond. This is not their 6-year-old red wheat. That's just their standard stuff. But what I love about what they do is on the side of the bottle, they indicate the percentages. So they've got a 7-floor rick, or at least seven ricks high. So I don't want to say necessarily 7 floors, and then what they do is, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but that's probably, I don't know if it'll focus. But anyway, right below that black line, there are floor numbers, and it gives you the percentage of barrels that were used within each blend. So this one just happened to be, so let's, again, bottle and bond, so minimum 4 years old, all of that good stuff. This was only a blend of 2 floors, first and fifth. So they give you a percentage of floor 1, which was 44%, and then 56% of fifth floor barrels to create this. So essentially, when they're creating their bottle and bond, or their soft red wheat, or whatever it may be, which again is a 6-year bottle and bond, you're going to get some different kind of profiles based on these blending of the floors, because you're going to get obviously more intense, heavier flavors up high versus some of the softer whiskeys that you'll get on the lower floors. So blending all of those will create these kind of different profiles. So each time they do a release, or a different batch, so to speak, you should be able to see some different, slightly different kind of profiles, I think, with these. So if you're there and you see anything from Ben Holiday, make sure you're checking out the side. It does also give you, what was the other one? Yeah, there it is. It gives you whether it was a spring or fall or winter or whatever it is, so you can see there as well. So just below that black line is a little bit different, and again, that's giving you the spring of what it is. So distilled, and then bottled in, and it shows the bottle date and everything. So this was from July of last year. So yeah, really kind of cool what it is that Ben Holiday is doing. So they've been getting some rave reviews lately. So if you see something from Ben Holiday, I'd say, go ahead and, give it a try. I think you guys will appreciate it. And it's got the twist off. I'm a fan of twist off for some reason. I don't know what it is, but I'm good with twist off with whiskey. I don't have an issue with it whatsoever. Plus, the corks don't ever get all nasty and break. And I know a lot of people use synthetic ones anyway. But all right, what do we got before we wrap up tonight? And we'll go on to we'll let everybody go with their evening. So Scott, my daughter, lives in Kansas City and went on a tour. Highly recommend. I know Bruzel did a pick. Why not the Mash Journey? So Timmy, we are on the list. Hopefully we'll be contacted before too much longer. Probably should follow back up just to kind of see where we are on the list. But I think the demand had become pretty high that they were starting to kind of put people in categories of doing these picks. So we are on the list, and it's something I definitely look forward to getting there and doing a pick of. So, but everybody, there we go. There is an hour on a Tuesday night that you will never get back again. So if nothing else, if you were okay listening to me ramble on for an hour, the most important thing with tonight was being able to help out Durrell and his family, and more importantly, his daughter, and trying to raise a little bit more money to help offset any additional expenses that there may be, and for her to be able to get out there and fight this fight and just kind of kick the what out of that cancer. That is for sure. So I hope everyone has a great night. I hope everyone is able to tune in tomorrow night to Jeffrey's stream, and then Jason's. Everyone will be doing a lot of things going on. So I've got things going on tomorrow, and unfortunately won't be able to jump on tomorrow night. So made it a little bit more important for me to want to be able to do something tonight. So, and thanks, Timmy. I appreciate that, bud. So anyway, with that being said, so again, I'm working on getting some other people on, other distillers, things along those lines, just to try to have some more fun, different kind of interactive live streams rather than me just rambling on for an hour. But anyway, donate, whatever you guys can do. Again, I'll keep saying it until I hit the end stream button, but do what you can. Again, it's very much appreciated, and going to help his daughter is crucial in these circumstances. So thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight, and I appreciate it. A lot of people are doing, I know I see Benny and everybody in here. It's a lot of people are doing a lot of great things, and rightfully so. And it's a great thing. I mean, the whiskey community, from my side of things, to see all of the great people and just the effort that people put into things is second to none. And I mean, there's a lot of people I call, friends, and to do all of these things and to help out the way everyone is doing, it just makes you feel good and proud to be part of this community. So thank you guys so much for everyone doing their part. Anyone who donates or donated tonight, thank you guys so much. Greatly appreciate all of that. Until we see you guys again next Tuesday, thank you so much. Remember, it is about the journey and not the destination. Go hug someone, give someone a kiss. You never know when you're going to get that bad news, but keep kicking cancer's ass, and make sure you guys all tune in tonight. Great stuff going on. Cheers. Thanks, guys, for everything. Thank you for everybody doing their part. Greatly appreciate it. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Cheers.